In the autumn of 1973, the acclaimed actor Anthony Hopkins was immersed in preparations for a role that demanded deep understanding, a part in the cinematic adaptation of George Pfeiffer's novel, The Girl from Petrovka. A true artist seeking the soul of the story, Hopkins felt an imperative need to commune with the original text, to trace the author's thoughts through the very ink on the page. Thus began a pilgrimage through the literary heart of London, a day-long quest that led him from one bookstore to another, each a potential gateway to the world he sought to inhabit. Yet, at every turn, he was met with the same disheartening refrain. The book was out of print, a ghost in the machine of publishing, with no copies to be found in the entire city. As evening cast long shadows, a sense of resignation settled upon him, and he descended into the subterranean world of the London Underground, the rhythmic, metallic heartbeat of the train a stark contrast to the quiet disappointment within. What happened next was a moment of pure, unscripted magic. A previous passenger, consumed by the haste of modern life, had exited the carriage in a flurry, leaving a single, solitary object abandoned on the seat. Drawn by an impulse that felt more significant than simple curiosity, Hopkins approached. His hand closed around the spine of a book, and as he turned it over, time seemed to contract. There, emblazoned on the cover, was the title he had sought so fervently, The Girl from Petrovka. The odds of this occurrence are so astronomically vast they border on the mythological, a number so large it ceases to be a measure of chance and becomes a question of meaning. This was merely the first layer of the mystery. Months later, with the film completed, Hopkins found himself in the presence of the author, George Pfeiffer. He recounted the incredible tale, expecting amused disbelief. Instead, Pfeiffer was struck with a profound perplexity. He explained that the specific copy, filled with his own marginalia and notes, was his personal edition, lent to a friend who had, months before, lost it somewhere on the London subway system. The narrative loop was closed with a perfection that defies rational explanation, suggesting not a universe of random collisions, but one of intricate, meaningful design. We have all, in our quieter moments, felt the faint brush of this hidden order against our lives. These are the instances that make us pause, that cause us to glance over our shoulder as if we might catch a glimpse of the architect. It is the experience of thinking of a song from a distant chapter of your youth, only to have it begin playing on a random radio frequency moments later. It is the sudden, inexplicable weight of concern for a friend living across an ocean, a concern that is answered by the ringing of the telephone. It is the dream of a forgotten, cobblestone street that you later find yourself walking down in a city you have never visited. These events are punctuation marks in the run-on sentence of ordinary life, moments where meaning condenses into a palpable force. The Swiss psychiatrist Carl Gustav Jung, a pioneer in mapping the inner landscapes of the human soul, recognized that these were more than just amusing anomalies. He named them synchronicities, defining them as acausal connecting principles, events linked not by a chain of cause and effect, but by the common thread of their meaning to the observer. Jung spent decades studying this phenomenon, concluding that the probability of such meaningful coincidences occurring by chance alone was so infinitesimally small that it pointed toward a fundamental flaw in our understanding of reality itself. He proposed that alongside the world of linear causality, the world where a billiard ball strikes another, there exists a second, parallel dimension of existence where the inner world of the psyche and the outer world of events reflect one another in a complex, symbolic dance. This implies a cosmos that is not cold, empty, and indifferent, but one that is in some way conscious, responsive, and deeply interconnected with our own minds. Our consciousness, in this view, is not a mere byproduct of brain chemistry locked inside our skulls. It is a field that extends beyond the confines of the physical body, interacting with the universe in a continuous, dynamic exchange. Synchronicities are the visible signatures of this interaction, the moments when the veil between mind and matter becomes transparent. In our journey today, we will explore 5 distinct archetypes of synchronicity, each a different dialect in the language the universe uses to communicate with us. By learning to recognize and interpret these signs, we can learn to navigate our lives not as isolated individuals battling against an indifferent fate, but as conscious participants in a co-creative dance with the cosmos itself. To understand synchronicity is to recognize that the reality we perceive with our five senses is a magnificent and persistent illusion, a consensus dream that we have all agreed to share. The great Albert Einstein hinted at this when he suggested that reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. Synchronicities are the glitches in this matrix, the moments when the rendering software of consensus reality stutters, revealing the deeper code beneath the surface. Modern quantum physics has begun to provide a language for this, demonstrating that at the subatomic level, particles exist in a state of pure potentiality until the act of observation, an act of consciousness, forces them to collapse into a definite state. The observer is inextricably linked to the observed. This leads to a revolutionary conclusion. Consciousness is not a passive witness to a pre-existing universe. It is an active participant in its very manifestation. Synchronicities are the empirical evidence of this participatory relationship, the universe's way of confirming that our thoughts, feelings, and intentions are not ephemeral whispers lost in the void, but tangible forces that sculpt the clay of reality. The first, and perhaps most crucial type of synchronicity we encounter is the warning or alert synchronicity. These phenomena often manifest on the precipice of a critical decision, a fork in the river of our destiny, where the choice of tributary will lead to vastly different landscapes. Such moments of significant choice generate a palpable turbulence in the fabric of our personal timeline. It is as if the potential energy of the future becomes unstable, sending ripples backward into the present. We are all intuitively aware that a single decision, which job to take, which relationship to pursue, which path to walk, can alter the entire trajectory of our existence, leading either to profound fulfillment or to a lifetime of quiet regret. Warning synchronicities act as a guidance system from a deeper, more holistic part of our being, a part that can perceive the potential outcomes of these branching timelines. Consider a more elaborate example. You are considering a partnership in a new business venture. The financial projections are stellar, the partners seem congenial, and the opportunity appears to be a gateway to a new life. On the morning you are to sign the final contracts, you wake with a sense of unease you cannot rationalize. Driving to the meeting, you take a wrong turn you have never taken before, despite knowing the route well. This detour leads you past the offices of a company that went bankrupt under mysterious circumstances, a story you recall reading about. The name of that failed company echoes the name of your potential new venture. Arriving flustered, you discover your pen, a cherished gift, has inexplicably run out of ink. This cascade of seemingly minor obstructions creates enough dissonance to make you request a 24-hour delay for reflection. In that window, you uncover discrepancies in the financials that were artfully concealed. The synchronicities did not create the detour or the dry pen. They orchestrated a series of delays and symbols that allowed your intuition the time and language to scream a warning you were otherwise ignoring. The second type, the confirmation synchronicity, functions as a compass from the soul. Unlike the protective nature of warning synchronicities, these events serve to affirm and validate when we are in alignment with our deepest purpose, particularly during moments of significant spiritual growth or personal transformation. When we stand before a genuine opportunity for expansion, one that resonates with the core frequency of our authentic self, a luminous and positive timeline opens before us. However, our ego, a construct built on fear, past trauma, and the need for social validation, often resists such growth. It prefers the familiar prison to the uncertain freedom of the unknown. In these moments of internal conflict, where the soul urges a leap of faith and the ego counsels retreat, confirmation synchronicities arise like benevolent signposts, offering the reassurance and courage needed to proceed. These are the moments that feel like a personal blessing, a secret handshake from the universe that fills us with a sense of magical rightness and connection. Imagine you have just made a difficult decision to leave a secure but unfulfilling career to pursue a path of service, perhaps in healing arts. The decision is terrifying, and doubts immediately swarm your mind. Later that day, while walking in a park, you sit on a bench to quiet your anxious thoughts. An elderly stranger sits beside you and, without preamble, begins speaking not to you, but into the air, saying, "My only regret is that I waited until I was 60 to follow my heart." The universe always supports a true calling. At that exact moment, a hawk, a symbol of vision and perspective, lands on a branch directly in your line of sight. The message is intimate, multi-layered, and perfectly timed. It is a direct confirmation that you have chosen the path of harmony over the path of fear, a signal that you are not alone. The third type is the prophetic synchronicity, the language of omens and signs. This category encompasses the symbolic messages that arrive at pivotal moments, often through the powerful, repetitive appearance of symbols or through the visionary realm of dreams. You may find a specific number sequence, 111, 444, or a date of personal significance, appearing with inexplicable frequency on digital clocks, license plates, receipts, and page numbers, as if the universe is highlighting this numeral pattern for your attention. Alternatively, a dream may impart a powerful, cryptic image, a specific animal, a landscape, a key, that later unfolds in your waking life with startling literal or metaphorical accuracy. These are not simple predictions, but symbolic communications, a mythic language meant for the soul's intuitive deciphering. Interpreting this language requires that we become humble archaeologists of our own experience. It demands a journal, not as a mere logbook, but as a sacred text for recording these signs and reflecting on the emotional and situational context in which they arise. For instance, if you are struggling with a decision that involves emotional vulnerability and you begin to see repeated images of mollusks, creatures that protect their soft interiors with hard shells, it could be a message about the need to risk opening up. Prophetic synchronicities beautifully blur the line between the inner dreamscape and external reality, suggesting they are not separate realms but different expressions of a single, unified field of consciousness, much like water can appear as solid ice, flowing liquid, or vaporous steam while remaining H2O. The fourth type, manifestation synchronicity, is where the creative power of conscious thought becomes visibly, tangibly evident. This occurs when a concentrated thought, a deeply held desire, or a focused question seems to physically materialize in the external world with surprising speed and specificity. It is the experience of speaking about a rare, out-of-print book on an obscure philosophical topic, only to find it sitting on a park bench an hour later. It is the experience of needing a very specific piece of information or a particular skill set for a project, and the perfect person, someone you had no prior connection to, appearing in your life as if summoned. The profound philosophical question at the heart of this is, did your mind simply perceive a future event that was already destined to happen, or did your thought actually generate and orchestrate the event? In the case of true manifestation synchronicity, the evidence suggests the latter. Our consciousness acts as a catalyst, arranging the probabilities of the quantum field to reflect our inner state. This is the core mechanics of the law of attraction, but its implications become staggeringly profound when we consider the dimension of time. For your manifestation to occur, the physical events required may have needed to be set in motion before you even had the initial thought. It is as if your future decision, your future need, sends a ripple backward through time, influencing the past to align perfectly with your present moment. This concept, which finds support in groundbreaking quantum physics experiments like the quantum eraser and delayed choice experiments, suggests that time is not a linear, one-way street. Instead, the past, present, and future may exist in a state of fluid potential, and our present moment awareness is the needle that stitches a coherent timeline into existence. Our consciousness is the loom upon which the tapestry of time is woven. The fifth and final type is the opportunity synchronicity, which represents the sublime, graceful intersection of inner readiness and external grace. These are the seemingly chance encounters, the unexpected offers, and the perfectly timed introductions that arrive precisely when they are most needed to propel our life story forward. They do not feel like jarring shocks or startling coincidences, but rather like the smooth, effortless clicking of a cosmic lock. A chance meeting with a future mentor or soulmate in a remote location, or stumbling upon a critical piece of information the day after you finally articulated a deep-seated question, are classic examples of this synchronicity. Their distinguishing feature is the profound sense of ease, rightness, and natural flow they carry. There is no friction, no sense of forcing or striving. Everything unfolds with a serene inevitability, as if you have finally stepped into the current of your own destined river. They fill you not with shock, but with a deep, quiet joy and a feeling of immense relief, a tangible sensation of being supported by an intelligent universe that conspires for your growth and evolution. To integrate this understanding into daily life, we must first cultivate a state of sensitive awareness, a quieting of the mind's constant chatter to perceive the subtle textures and whispers of the world. This is a practice of deep listening. Keeping a journal of these events is an active, participatory ritual. It is a way of signaling to the universe, I am here, I am awake, and I am listening. By meticulously noting down these patterns, we begin to see the signature of a guiding intelligence, a narrative thread running through the apparent chaos of daily life. If a long period passes without experiencing synchronicities, it can be a diagnostic tool. It may indicate a life grown stagnant within a rigid comfort zone, a predictable routine where the universe has no need to intervene because no new choices are being made. To reawaken this divine dialogue, we must consciously venture into the unknown, embracing awe and wonder as our default state of being. We must practice the delicate art of discernment, learning to distinguish the authentic voice of our intuition, which speaks softly through feelings and knowings, from the clamorous voices of social conditioning and egoic fear. The more we consciously choose to act from this sacred inner core, from our spiritual intelligence, the more we become living magnets for meaningful coincidence. We fine-tune our personal frequency to resonate with our most abundant and positive timeline. In doing so, the universe responds in kind, guiding us with an elegant language of symbols, encounters, and events. In the grand, holographic tapestry of existence, synchronicity reveals the shimmering threads of meaning that connect our individual consciousness to the cosmic whole. By learning its grammar and vocabulary, we cease to be mere observers of a predetermined fate. We become conscious co-authors of our reality, discovering through direct experience that we are both the dreamer and a beloved character within the most beautiful, mysterious, and participatory of dreams. As we step back from the intricate dance of synchronicities, we begin to see the invisible threads that weave meaning through our lives. Each encounter, each symbol, each unexpected twist is not random. It is a message, a whisper from the universe guiding us toward deeper understanding and alignment. When we open ourselves to these signs, life becomes a co-created tapestry, rich with purpose, insight, and wonder. If this journey resonated with you, please help our channel grow and spread the message by liking, subscribing, and turning on notifications. Share your experiences and reflections in the comments below so we can explore even deeper truths together. Keep your heart open, your mind aware, and your spirit attuned to the subtle language of the cosmos. Thank you for watching.